The Renaissance, 1350 CE to 1600 CE. Excerpts from Adventures in the Human Spirit by Bishop. The Renaissance Spirit in Italy. With its towering cathedral dome and gracious palaces, the grand city of Florence was the center of the Renaissance spirit in Italy. A desire to recover the classical beauty and the wisdom of old, combined with an innovative spirit and an unfailing belief in human reason and achievement. In Florence and in Rome, this spirit inspired some of history's greatest artists and thinkers. Yet, outside Florence's walls, the legions of war and division were camped, ready to destroy what the Renaissance had created. At its height, Renaissance Florence rivaled classical Athens in its artistic and intellectual genius. Its workshops trained the greatest artists of the early and high Renaissance. But even this great flowering of the human spirit could not escape the looming shadow of conflict and destruction. The Renaissance in Italy. The Renaissance in Italy sprang from the vigorous interest in the culture of the ancient Greeks and Romans and the conviction that the achievements of classical antiquity were being restored in this new age. The name Renaissance, which means rebirth, a term not applied to the period until early 19th century. The Italian Renaissance was a period of spectacular advances in learning and the arts, led by artists such as Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael, whose genius impressed kings and popes and who left works of unmatched excellence. Patronage of the arts and learning. The Italian Renaissance was prosperous, and the wealthy rulers of its cities and courts spent lavishly on the arts and learning. In Florence, artistic patrons were guided by the Renaissance idea of civic humanism. Civic humanism derived from the republican ideals of the ancient Romans, and especially from the writings of Cicero. It bound Florence's citizens to pursue both their self-interest, something the Medici never failed in, and their obligation to civic good. The Medici family rebuilt churches, sponsored hospitals and other civic projects, and commissioned public artworks. Cosimo de' Medici subsidized an academy of Renaissance learning that attracted to Florence scholars from all over Europe. He was a humanist scholar and collected a famous treasury of ancient books and manuscripts. On this page, you see a painting by Titian called The Venus of Urbino. Where have you seen the concept of Venus before? And how are they alike and different? Write your response in the space that's included. The Renaissance Humanism. In contrast to the medieval Christian views of humans as sinful and depraved, Italian Renaissance thinkers praised the human character as God's highest creation. The Renaissance humanists combined respect for classical learning with supreme confidence in human ability. This humanism played a role in the age's greatest achievements and is evident in the statues modeled after ancient nudes in the translations of classical authors. While Renaissance humanism did not immediately affect the lives of common people, its belief in human reason scholarship soon stimulated monumental changes. The 16th century Italian scientist Galileo pursued experiments that flew in the face of church beliefs, and the Bible translations of the 16th century German reformer Martin Luther depended on his humanist training in ancient languages. The science of perspective. The Renaissance's greatest advance in pictorial arts was the invention of perspective, a pictorial technique for representing a two-dimensional scene so that it appears to be three-dimensional. As Masaccio showed in his Trinity, he achieved a dramatic illusion of depth with linear perspective, in which the picture's straight lines all converge towards a single vanishing point. Perspective also served to unify and harmonize a picture's dramatic moment. In Leonardo da Vinci's famous Last Supper, lines created by the ceiling and side windows converge to a vanishing point just above the head of Christ. The animated action of the moment of Jesus' betrayal centers upon the peaceful form of Christ himself. The result is not only the illusion of a three-dimensional space behind the table, but also a feeling of mathematical balance and design. In an age when artists were also engineers and mathematicians, perspective offered a scientific way of mapping and mastering the world. Its principles echoed the ancient Greeks' belief that mathematical values were the foundation of the universe. It established the individual's mind and eye as the origin of knowledge and perception, confirming both the wisdom of the ancients and the glory of human intelligence. Leonardo as scientist and painter. The most diverse and enigmatic talent of the Renaissance was Leonardo da Vinci, whose genius fascinated his contemporaries as much as it does in the modern age. Trained as a painter and sculptor in Florence, Leonardo abandoned that city to seek new interest. He served the Duke of Milan as a designer of fortifications, castles, and water projects. An appetite for knowledge about the world consumed Leonardo. In his notebooks, projects, and paintings, he demonstrated an understanding of the world that still amazes us today. Western civilization has probably never known a greater or more restless intelligence. The High Renaissance in Rome. While the Italian Renaissance blossomed in Florence, the age bore its greatest fruit in the city of Rome. Rome had long been famed for its dedication to high living and fine art. About 1500 CE, it witnessed an outburst of artistic creation and imitation that transformed the city. The period known as the High Renaissance saw the masterful application of techniques and ideas developed in Florence. The achievement of Raphael and Michelangelo in painting, Josquin de Perez in music, and Leonardo da Vinci in several arts make this an unsurpassed age of heroic genius. The High Renaissance was centered in Rome, but also spread to other cultural centers of southern Europe.